This conference will now be recorded.
So the codes what we are going to learn here is, we call it as full stack Java. And in this full stack Java, we'll be going with the contents like initially we go with core Java. Initially we go with core Java. Even we call it as Java SC. SC means standard edition. SC means what? Standard edition. And the main use of going for this core Java is used to develop standalone or desktop applications. Used to develop what? Standalone or desktop applications. That once we complete this core part, we'll be entering into the next category, that is web technologies. Even we call it as user interface design, or even we call front-end design. In our course, we'll be learning the web technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, XML, JSON, and Angular. Very important one. Once we complete this web technologies, we'll be going with the next category, advanced Java. Even we call it as Java EE, that is Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition. And the main use of going for this Enterprise Edition is used to develop web applications. It's for web applications. The next and very, very important category, that is frameworks. That is what? Frameworks. And in our course, we'll be going with the important frameworks like Hibernate framework. Then we go with Spring framework. So before we go to the Spring framework, we'll be even covering one more topic like web services, which we use this web services concept in Spring framework. Then, under Spring, we'll be going with the modules. Spring is divided into so many modules. We'll be going with the modules like Spring core module or bean module, then Spring DAO module, where we go with 3 submodules. It's mainly for database connection, where we go with 3 submodules like Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, where we integrate with Hibernate, and Spring Data JPA. We go with Spring MVC module. This MVC module is used to develop web applications. It's for web applications. Then Spring Boot module, very important one. Then Spring REST module. Spring REST module. So in this Spring REST only we make use of web services. Then the next one, even we discuss microservices using Spring Boot. Right? So these are the contents we'll be going, and during our course, even we'll be going with some real-time tools like JUnit, Maven, GitHub, Lombok, Postman, like this. Okay, we'll be keep on adding, and the duration of our course. The duration of our course goes with approximately 55 hours. Then the time is Monday to Friday. Remember, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. IST. Whatever the time you have joined today, no? That same time, 8 p.m. IST. And the class will go for maximum 1 hour. I never cross 1 hour. So it will be close at something like 50 minutes, 55 minutes, 57 minutes, or some cases 60 minutes maximum. I never cross it. You can plan accordingly, right? And the class is getting recorded. That recordings will be shared to you after the class. Every day, it's a regular process. Once we complete the class, within 2 hours, you are going to get your documents and recordings. What are the recording you are getting? please download onto your local machine. Please download it onto your local machine, right? And whatever the GoToMeeting link you are having with you, that same link you can use to join for next week also. For next week also, the link will remain same, right? So any questions up here, anyone? So just this is the thing what we discussed yesterday, but more elaboration. Have done with more elaboration. Like I've done what contents we do it in Code Java like that. I'll be sharing that recording to you. So the actual topic we are going to start from today only. Any questions, any queries before I proceed further? Right? Now, today, let us start off with the topic programming concepts. So before we enter into any programming language like C or C++ or Java or .NET or Python, we should have some programming background, like some basic idea on programming concepts. Then entering into the programming will be very easy for us. Now, let us go with programming concepts today, so that from next class, we can enter into Java very easily. First of all, what is a program? How will you define a program? So what makes a program? A program is a set of statements. And what makes a program? It is a set of statements used to do a specific task. What do you mean by task here? The examples of task like finding total marks of a student, finding total marks of a student, finding net salary of an employee, adding a book to the library, depositing amount in the bank, booking a movie ticket, booking a flight ticket, like this. These all things we call it as task. To do that, we have to write the program. Okay. So when you are writing the program, in that we use some of the programming concepts, like the first one is comments. Comments. So the need of comment is like to document your program. It is mainly to document your program. Why we have to document the program? To elaborate more about your program. If even yourself or someone sees your program in future, they should be able to understand your code. You are elaborating your code. That only we call documentation. That we do by using comments. So the use of comments is, comments are used to document a program. Comments are used for what purpose? To document a program, and ignored by the programming language. Ignored by the programming language. Programming language will not see what you are writing in that. What you are writing in that. Right? Then we are in two types of comments. Types of comments. They are single line comment, where we go with a slash slash, and multi-line comment, where we go with a slash star and end with again star slash. Like example, you can say slash slash to find the area of a rectangle. This is single line comment. Slash star will say to find gross salary and net salary of an employee. So this is multi-line comment. Just in your own words, whatever you want to do within your own words, we can document our program so that we can easily understand what we are doing in the program. The next term is keyword. The meaning of keyword is whenever we take any programming language, there will be some words. Those words are understood by the language automatically. Such type of words only we call keywords. So you can define a keyword like a keyword is a reserved word or predefined word whose meaning is known to the language directly. So the language will understand these words automatically. Like some of the examples, like we are having like int, float, char, then class, private, public, if, else, while, do, for, like this. Okay, I've just taken some of the examples where many programming language supports. The next term here is variable. This is important. If you are totally new to programming, variables are very important. The meaning of variable is like whenever we want to store some data, like age, we require some memory space. If I want to store some name, we require some memory space. If you want to store something like salary, we require some memory space. So the name what we are giving to the memory space to store the data, these names only we call it as variables. So how to define a variable is like a variable is an identifier. A variable is an identifier which allocates some memory space. Some memory space. And the examples of variables are like roll number, then student name, net salary, book price, like this. Okay. The next definition, very, very important, data type. Data type. The meaning of data type is like, once we allocate memory for your variables, like example, if you are allocating memory for age, then in age, what type of data we store? Something like 20. Something like what? 20. A numeric value without any decimal point. A numeric value without any decimal point. This we call it as integer. This we call it as what? Integer. Now, if you are allocating some memory space for name, in name we go with some alphabets, collection of characters. So when you are going with collection of characters, we call it as string. We call it as what? String. If you take something like height, in height we store a numeric value with a decimal point like 5.9, 5.9. This we call it as float. A numeric value with a decimal point is float type. So the type of data what you are storing in the variable, this only we call data type. How to define is type of data, the variable holds is called as data type. Type of data the variable holds is called as what? Data type. Examples of data types are like int, char, float, string. These are some of the basic examples. So whatever I'm discussing, these all things I'm going to discuss once again in depth when we enter into Java. Okay, so whatever we are doing, just a basic idea so that we can enter into Java from next class very easily. Without having knowledge on this, entering into Java will be difficult. That's the reason we are doing these programming concepts today. The next one is declaration of variable. Declaration of variable. The need of declaring a variable is like, without allocating memory space for variable, we cannot store the data. So in order to allocate memory space for variable, we need to declare it. So what is the need of declaration? In order to allocate memory space for variable, we need to declare the variable. We need to declare the variable. Yeah. So most of the data types, yeah, Manvi, your question, most of the data types like int, char, float, these are keywords only. These are keywords. But if you see this one, private, public, if, else, these are not data types. These are not data types. So if you take data types, most of the data types are keywords only. Clear, Manvi?
Yes, sir, clear.
Data types are also predefined words where your language will understand. So data types also comes under as keywords. So data types are sub part of keywords. But more, this is not a keyword again. That confusion will happen. That I'll be elaborating later to you. Okay. But these three are keywords. Right?
Okay, sir.
No. So to allocate memory space for variable, we need to declare it. Then the syntax of declaring. The meaning of syntax is rules of a language. So when it's a language, it is programming language. The syntax is, we have to go with the data type, then space, variable 1 comma, variable 2 comma, like that, variable n. And most of the languages, every statement should end with semicolon. Like example, you can say int a comma b, character c, float f, like this. So when I declare like this, then only it is going to allocate memory space for variable like a, b, c, and f. So after allocating memory space only, we can store the data into this allocated memory. So to allocate memory, we have to declare it. Without declaring, we cannot use the variable in our program. The next and very, very important one is function or method. Function or method. In C++, we call function. In Java.NET, we call it as method. Right? But both the meanings are same. Then, how to define is, a method is a subprogram. A method is what? It's a part of the program which is used to do a specific task. Which is used to do a specific task. Like example, whenever we want to do a task, like we want to find area of a rectangle. What you want to find? Area of a rectangle. Now here, to do that, we are going with a method name area rect. We go with a method name like this, area rect. So this is the way how method looks. The name of the method, anything explicit. Based on the task, we write the method name, and here we go with the parenthesis. Here we go with the parenthesis. If you are having some idea on Excel, like we use the methods like sum, average, like this. These only we call functions or methods. Okay. Then, so here we are creating our own method called as area rect, and we end with parenthesis. When you see parenthesis, they are methods. And here open and close curly brace means the method begins here and closes here. Now, in order to find area of a rectangle, what data do we require? What data do we require?
Height and width.
Length and
Length
breadth,
and
right?
width, length and width of the rectangle.
Length and breadth. So the input what we require to perform the task, that we have to pass in between the parentheses like this: int length, comma, int breadth. So before we use these two are variables, length and breadth, we call them as variables. To allocate memory space for this variable, we have to declare it. How to declare? We have to mention the data type before the variable. This length and breadth, we call them as length and breadth are arguments. We call them as arguments or parameters. Arguments are parameters. Then, now, how to find area? What's the formula for area? Length into breadth, right? What is the formula for area? Length into breadth will give the area of the rectangle. Now, here we are using a variable area. So we have to allocate memory space for area. So we have to declare it. So we are declaring. Whenever we take any variable, remember we have to declare that variable. Without declaring, we cannot use it. Now this is the definition what you are doing. This we call it as defining the method. This we call it as defining the method. Yeah, come on, Manvi. This slash in between. What is this one? I'm elaborating the program here, right? What you are doing? I'm elaborating the program. How to elaborate your program? Documenting. So how to do document? Using comments. So I'm using a single line comment to elaborate your program. Clear, Manvi?
No, sir. It's not clear.
Yeah, you are writing the program, right? This is your code. So if I'm not writing this one, and if I say you orally, length and breadth are arguments. Can you remember that? Can you remember?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
After some days, will you remember? After some years, you forgot about programming language. After some years, you want to know the terminology, what we call length and breadth. You may not remember, right? So
Yes, sir.
how to make it elaborated? How to make it elaborated? By going with comments. So when you see this line in future, you can easily say that length and breadth are what? Arguments, right? Got it?
Okay, sir.
Documenting. Documenting means what? You are elaborating more of this. Right? Got it? Okay. So as the days goes on, you will be understanding why we have tried the comments. Okay. Without writing this one, without writing also, your program will work. But to elaborate more, for that only we write the comments. So this we call it as what? Defining the method. This we call defining the method. Now, let us call the method area rect, and if you pass here 10 comma 5, this we call calling the method. Calling the method. Okay, so this you are defining the method, means you are writing the code inside the method. This you are invoking the method, calling the method. So when you say area rect 10 comma 5, what is going to happen? This 10 will come and store into length, 5 will come and store into breadth. Then what will be the value of area now? What will be the value of area? 50, right? What will be the value of area? 50. This result 50, I want to give it back to this method. When you call the method, it has to give some value back to us. So how to give this area value back to this method? By using a keyword return. By using what keyword? Return, and pass area. Return the value of area. Now, if you print here, like for example, I'll say int a equal to, if you print the value of a now, what value it's going to print for us? 50. What value it is going to print? 50. So whenever you call a method, this is what calling a method. Whenever you call a method, the method will return a value back to us. The method will return a value back to us. Okay. So what value it is returning back to us here? 50. That 50 will come and store into this method name that I'm assigning to a, and if I print that a, that value what it prints here? 50. The value what it is going to print is what here? 50. Now, this area, whatever you are returning, this area is what data type? What is the data type of this area?
Int.
Integer. Very good. What is the data type of area? Say integer. So before the method name, we have to mention the data type what you are returning. So we have to mention before the method name like this. So you can say the return type of area rect method is integer. Is what here? Integer in this case. So this return type concept is important for me. That's the main reason I'm discussing this method concept. Just a small idea overview only. We are going to do a lot of programs on these concepts. So many programs, near to 50 to 60 programs we do only to understand about methods. But in future, we'll be going with a lot of hundreds of programs only to write methods. Every program we use methods in that. Okay, right? So that these all things will become nothing for you finally. Then, now understand carefully. If you take the method, and you are not returning the value outside. I don't want to give this area value outside. I want to print over here only. I want to print this area value in the method only. I don't want to give this area output outside of your method. I want to print here only. So if you are not returning any value outside of your method, means if you are not using return keyword, then here we have to use void. Here we have to use what? Void. Void means no return type. Void means what here? No return type. You are not returning any value outside. So this void word is important because once we go with the Java introduction, we'll be start using void keyword only more. So to introduce that only, I've taken the example of method concept here. So when I use the term like comments, keywords, variables, data type, declaration of variable, method, return type, void, you should not feel confused. What are these words? If you understand these words, then only entering into Java will be easy. And in Java again we'll be keep on discussing these all terms again and again, so many times. Then these all terms will become nothing for you finally. These are like ABCs finally for you. Okay. All right. Any questions, anyone up to here? Anyone having any questions?
What happens if we put the method as a void and we don't print it?
Nothing will happen. Even if you remove, if you are not using return keyword, remember, if you are not using return, you can say void, no problem. Like example, if I take a method like display, where you are just printing, just please me, welcome. You are just printing a message, welcome. Then are you returning any value from here outside? No. Then we have to use void. That's the meaning, final meaning here. If no return keyword means what? That's the point to remember. Got it?
Sir,
Yeah,
then
yes,
what's the
Manvi.
difference between void and return
Void,
value?
void and
Return. Void
return.
and return value.
Yeah, what is the return? If you are to give any value outside of your method, we have to use return keyword. So here, this area what you got, I want to give it outside of your method. So you have to give here. I want to give it outside, then we have to use return. Whatever the data type you are returning, we have to mention the data type. But if you see these two methods, if you see this method and this method, are you giving any value outside?
No, sir.
No. Then we have to use void. Got it? If you are not
Yes, sir.
returning any value outside of your method, void. That part you remember. Okay? Right?
Okay, sir.
Just recap it one more time. You feel easy. But however, don't worry too much on this now because just the beginning today, first class. So many places we use these terms again and again. Then the things will become much more clear to you. Okay? Right? So when I use the terms like method, variable, data type, you should not feel confused. You should not feel that this is the first time you are hearing that words. For that reason only, I'm discussing these words today. Okay. So that's about for today. Next class Monday, where I'll be starting up with Java introduction. Okay. Just a second.